They say the heart is like a mirror. When it turns toward Allah, it reflects light, pure and clear. But when it turns toward the world, dust gathers and the reflection grows dim. It still shines, but only with borrowed light. And sometimes that reflection fools you. You think it's guidance, but it's applause. You think it's sincerity, but it's validation. You think it's love for Allah, but it's love for being seen loving Him. But the heart rarely cracks all at once. It fogs slowly with the breath of praise. This is the story of a young man named Hamza, a young man who wanted nothing more than to remind people of Allah, until the applause grew louder than the whispers of dhikr in his chest, a voice that once called people to Allah and almost forgot to call himself. Hamza's story began with passion. He was 23, quiet, thoughtful, restless, full of questions. He wasn't famous, he was faithful. The kind of young man who stayed behind in the masjid after everyone left. He'd sit cross-legged, eyes lowered, whispering dua. He loved knowledge. He loved dawah. Sitting beneath the yellow glow of a mosque lamp, tracing Quranic verses with trembling fingers. At night he'd scroll through his phone, seeing Islamic videos reach millions. He wasn't jealous, he was inspired. He said, if one voice can touch millions, maybe mine can reach one. If they can do it, maybe I can too, he thought. That night he whispered, "Oh Allah, use me for your sake, even if no one ever knows my name." So he began. One night, under the yellow light of his small desk lamp, Hamza recorded his first video with his phone, his voice trembling slightly as he said, "Do you know that every tear you shed for Allah is recorded? That every heartbreak you turn into dua becomes light on your scale? Every sigh whispered in sujood, every breath taken after patience, every time you forced a smile while your heart was breaking, Allah saw it, He wrote it. You see, people count your achievements, your followers, your wealth, your smiles, but Allah counts your struggles, the nights you stayed awake trying to fight a sin, the mornings you rose for Fajr while your soul begged for rest, the forgiveness you gave to someone who never said sorry. Those are the hidden victories that the angels record. Those are the unseen moments that will one day shine brighter than any fame, brighter than any applause. So when your chest tightens with regret, when you feel you've lost too much, remember this: nothing is lost when it was for Allah. He uploaded it and slept with a heart beating between fear and hope. By morning, 10,000 views, 10,000 hearts had heard his words. By the next week, 100,000 more. Then messages from strangers: "Brother, your words changed my life. You reminded me of Allah after so long." He cried, not from pride, from gratitude. He felt chosen, like Allah had given him a voice to heal hearts. Months passed, his followers grew faster than he could count. Brands began to notice. Masjids invited him to speak. He was invited to youth events, then to mosques. People waited in lines just to take pictures. His mother, eyes glistening, said, "My son, Allah has blessed your words." People called him Ustad Hamza. He smiled, awkwardly, shyly and at first, but deep down a small voice whispered, "You're doing good. People love you. You matter." He never said it out loud, but he started liking the way it felt, the way people listened, the way they waited for his words, the way he could say anything, and hearts would move. He wasn't chasing fame, or so he thought, but slowly his mirror began to fog. One evening, scrolling through praise, he whispered, "Ya Allah, am I doing this for you or for them?" But the next moment, another notification arrived and the question drowned beneath the sound of applause. It began small. He shortened his prayer to meet a posting deadline. He quoted Quran without checking tafsir. He smiled wider for the camera than he did for his parents. When his follower count slowed, anxiety replaced dhikr. And in sujud, where once he poured his heart, his mind now wandered to algorithms and views. One day, he sat down to record. He adjusted the mic, fixed his hoodie, opened his notes, but the words wouldn't come. He stared into the lens and felt empty. He whispered, "Ya Allah, what do I even say today?" Silence, no inspiration, no emotion, just emptiness. He scrolled through his comments for ideas. A recent one read, "Your videos don't hit the same anymore, bro. You've changed." That comment burned. He replied in his heart, "I haven't changed. I'm still doing this for Allah." But a second whisper followed. The one shaitan, devil, loves to send when hearts are unguarded. Then, why does that comment hurt so much? He turned off the camera. For the first time, he didn't post that week. For the first time, his silence bothered him more than his sins. That Friday, Hamza attended a small masjid where an old scholar taught tafsir. He sat in the back, hoodie up, hoping no one would notice him. The sheikh spoke softly, "My brothers, when you worship Allah, remember that sincerity is heavier than action. A small deed done purely for Allah outweighs mountains done for people's praise." He said again, "The Prophet ﷺ warned us of riya, showing off. Hidden shirk is more invisible than the footsteps of an ant on a black stone in the night. Guard your hearts, for deeds are only as pure as their intention." Hamza looked down. He felt every word slice softly through his chest. The sheikh continued, "The Prophet ﷺ warned us. What I fear most for you is the hidden shirk, showing off. It hides inside good deeds like a tiny seed inside soil, invisible but alive. And unless you purify it, it will grow until your worship feeds your ego instead of your soul." Hamza's throat tightened. Hidden shirk, that quiet pride, that love of being seen. He whispered to himself, "Ya Allah, is that me?" The sheikh then said, "A believer's heart must be like a mirror. It only reflects truth when it's clean." Hamza froze. That word again, mirror. It was as if Allah was talking directly to him. That night Hamza sat alone at his desk. He scrolled through his profile, millions of views, thousands of comments, praises, tags, reposts. And then he whispered, "Ya Allah, do you still see me?" He thought of the times he'd recorded without wudu, the times he'd rushed his salah to meet a deadline, the du'as he'd recited on camera with perfect tone, but never off camera with sincerity. The mirror cracked completely. He shut his laptop and fell into sujood. The carpet beneath his forehead was wet with tears. He didn't ask for followers this time. He didn't ask for success. He only said, "Ya Allah, I'm sorry. I wanted to call people to you, but somewhere along the way I started calling them to me." The words broke him and healed him at the same time. The next day, Hamza deleted all his accounts. Every video, every post, every number. People messaged him, "Where are you, bro? Why'd you delete everything? You're wasting your influence." But Hamza stayed silent. For the first time in years, he lived without notifications and rediscovered the sound of his own heart. He spent his days in study, memorizing Quran and teaching children in a small madrasa. No lights, no cameras, no crowd. Just him and Allah. And there, in that quiet, he found peace again. Months passed. One evening, his teacher asked him to give a short reminder after Maghrib. Hamza hesitated. Sheikh, I don't want to go back to the same trap. The Sheikh smiled. My son, it's not the act that was wrong. It was the heart behind it. If your heart is pure, your dawah will be light. Speak, not for them, but for Him, Allah. Hamza nodded. He stood before the small crowd, no camera, no script. His voice trembled again, like that first night years ago. He said, brothers and sisters, when we love Allah, we want others to love Him too. But never forget, the first heart you must guide is your own. Because if that heart dies, your words become echoes, loud but hollow. He said again, my beloved brothers and sisters. The Prophet ﷺ said the first three to be judged will be the martyr, the scholar, and the generous man, all of whom did good, yet all sought recognition. And Allah will say, you did it so people would praise you. And they did. Seek your reward from them. His voice cracked. I once feared obscurity more than hypocrisy. Now I fear hypocrisy more than obscurity. The room fell silent. The reminder wasn't polished, but it was alive. Somewhere in the crowd, a young man teared up. Hamza saw his old self in that boy, eager, sincere, still untainted. And he smiled. After everyone left, Hamza sat alone. He thought of the ayah, he has succeeded who purifies it, and he has failed who corrupts it. He whispered, purify my heart, Ya Rab, from the pride that hides behind piety. He remembered the years of fame, the nights of sleepless video editing, the dopamine of praise. And then he remembered the peace of sujood in silence. It was not the platform that was cursed. It was the heart that had leaned towards it too much. That night, Hamza walked home beneath the streetlights. He whispered, this time, I don't need the world to see me, Ya Allah. I just want you to see me and be pleased. He looked at the city lights and murmured, a man's value isn't in how many people hear his words, but in how many times he whispers astaghfirullah when no one is listening. He smiled. He returned to his small desk, the same lamp glowing, the same Quran open. He wrote a note on paper, not for posting but for remembering. The heart is a mirror. Keep it facing the light. The mirror was clean again. No lights, no followers, just light from the one who never needed an audience. In an age where sincerity is tested by visibility, remember Allah loves the deed unseen, the quiet dua after Fajr, the tear no one notices, the charity given with trembling hands when no phone is near to capture it. Sometimes the greatest jihad isn't against others, it's against the self that wants to be seen doing good. We live in an age where every act of worship can be recorded, shared, and liked. But remember, a deed that reaches 1 million hearts online means nothing if it never reaches the heart of the one who posted it. The Prophet ﷺ said, Allah does not look at your forms or your wealth, but He looks at your hearts and your deeds. So before you share the reminder, remind yourself. Before you speak to the world, speak to your soul. Before you seek their approval, seek His pleasure. If no one ever applauds you but Allah accepts you, you have already succeeded. Because sincerity is the secret between you and Him, Allah. A secret so sacred, even the angels don't know its depth, and only Allah can reward it. And when the mirror of your heart reflects only Him, that's when your soul finally shines.